Welcome back. It is episode 10. We've made it to episode 10. Technically, episode 11. However, on all of the stuff, it's episode 10.
And we have a sponsor brought to you by Slate Chocolate Milk.
No, we don't have a sponsor. And Peter's going to do this every time until someone ends up sponsoring us, which may be a very long time. So, Slate, you're going to get a lot of free advertisements through this podcast.
You're welcome.
So throw us a few bones.
Throw us a few bones.
All right. Kicking it off, I've got a lot. There was a lot that happened this past week. Do you have a bold take of the day?
You go first.
I go first. Okay.
Yeah.
My bold take of the day is that there's a high probability of famine in the near future. Global famine.
Doesn't that just mean death?
No. I mean, it leads into death, but famine is just like not having enough food. Right?
Oh. Because the supply chain shortage?
Not necessarily just supply chains, but mainly the war in Ukraine. Because Ukraine is one of the largest producers of grains in the world. And the farmers there are either just not planting or they're fighting because they're trying to defend their country. So there's very little being planted and agriculture. I read it on Agriculture Week. They think that the Ukraine's agricultural production is going to be down between 20 and 80%, depending on how long the war lasts.
Dang.
And the main reason farmers aren't planting is because they're worried that they're going to get drone striked while they're planting.
Why would they get drone striked?
Because apparently it's been happening.
Huh. Okay.
So that's
gluten-free.
Huh?
Go gluten-free.
Go gluten-free. I'm not sure that helps.
Well, what grains are we talking? Are we talking like wheat?
I'm honestly not 100% sure. However, I look at the titles and I just say, that's good enough, right? But
that's why we get fact checked.
But the problem with this is like we can go gluten free, right? Because we're in the U.S. We have like everyone in the U.S. that is working is pretty much in the 1% of the world in terms of income. So we have the ability to pay for something like that, as well as also pay more for the grain and everything to come to the U.S. So we won't necessarily see as much of the famine. However, like poorer countries, like India, and a lot of African countries might see severe famine because, for one, they don't have enough money to pay for the grain when the prices go up. And two, they don't have the supply chains to be able to just like be like, I'm going to go gluten free. The food that they get is the food that they get, and that's what they eat. So they don't really have choices like we do in the US. So the biggest problem is lower status countries. They're going to be ones that get hit the worst. But even in the US, we're going to see, I think it was the head of BlackRock, the CEO of BlackRock, said something to the extent of the privileged generations, like are the younger generations. This is going to be the first time that they're not going to see the stuff that they want on the shelves.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I bought a box of rice checks yesterday or today. It was $6.49.
Do you know what it is usually?
Like $3.50.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at that point, there's so much that goes into what those prices entail. The main likelihood for this happening is going to be early 2023. That's when it'll start, because all of the grain, the fertilizers is also a big thing, because Ukraine and Russia both produce a huge amount of fertilizer, or stuff that goes into the fertilizer.
Cow poop.
Sure. Yeah. But that's not being produced, and that's leading to farmers just having a lower yield across the board. So farmers everywhere across the world are going to have lower yields because they're not going to want to buy as much fertilizer, because it's going to be more expensive. So it's not that it's just going to be isolated to like Ukraine and Russia and their production, but across the world, farmers are going to produce less because it's going to be more expensive. And farmers inherently are more conservative. So they're going to lean towards being like, well, we'll just produce less this year so that we don't overextend ourselves, and buy less fertilizer to grow everything, which inherently makes a smaller yield. As far as I know, I'm
pretty sure there's government controlled farms though.
Yeah, they subsidize farms for sure. They subsidize corn, but
like the big ones, wheat.
Yeah, but
so I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that plays in, and that's also in the U.S. So, like I said, we're most likely going to be fine. We'll probably have some heartache where you'll be like, I don't get to eat the bread that I want to eat, or something like that. You know,
I can't have bread.
That's fantastic, Peter. Then you don't get the corn nuts that you want. I don't know. But the main problem is going to be countries that don't have the financial ability to subsidize farming, or, the society set up to where they actually have the organization to be able to do something like that. That's where we're going to see the worst problems. So,
and you think next year?
Yeah, I mean, because everyone's already bought their fertilizer for 2022. They've set their prices. So farmers buy in futures. They buy it all at a set price. And then each year kind of the price changes. Right. And so with prices rising right now, it's not impacting the current supply, like the current today production based on like fertilizer and stuff like that, but it'll affect a lot in late 2022, early 2023. And then also obviously the Ukraine's just like not planting right now. So I think that's going to be, it's interesting because we've all like we talked about, there was 48 to 72 hours where we really cared about this war because it's so distant. It's not something that is in our backyard. We can't see it every day. Right. So and we watch so many movies that, show these sorts of scenes to where you just are able to forget about it because you've seen it before, really, in movies. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't feel real. But the tailwinds of this war are going to really impact the world at large rather than, what we think it's impacting, which is just Ukraine, which obviously it's impacting them greatly, but there's going to be a much larger tidal wave from this war.
It was quite the bold statement.
Yeah. We'll see. We've got quite some weeks, so we'll be at like episode 50 by the time we actually see this stuff rolling around. But
aren't they in peace talks? Or weren't they?
Yeah, but they're in peace talks, and then Russia says we're going to pull back on this area, and then they end up like quadruple bombing it. So, you can't take any of it with any sort of legitimacy, especially because the whole time going into the war, people were asking Putin, like, are you going to go to war? And he was like, no, we're not going to do anything. And then the next day he was like, I'm declaring war on Ukraine. Right. Right. So, I mean, there's nothing that he won't say to like change the game. He'll lie out of his fucking teeth just because he feels like it, or because he thinks he gets some advantage in that.
We got to kill him.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with killing someone who runs a country is like, it's something that everyone's heard, is the evil you know is better than the evil you don't know. Right. So we all know Putin. We know he's a piece of shit, and we know the things that he's done. And it's obviously getting worse. I'll talk about that in a second, but the idea of killing Putin and changing the regime, like putting in a new president, is we don't know who the next president is going to be. And they could be Stalin. They could be, the worst person yet. So it's really difficult to come in. And we also have a terrible record of changing heads of states. Like it's never worked for us. Not once. We've tried it. We've tried it like 20 something odd times. And every time it goes bad. It's not something that the US is competent at.
We're not even competent at hiring our own presidents.
Yeah. But I think like the main problem is like, we're not there. We're not in the country. Apparently, Putin's approval rating in Russia is like 80 something % right now. So like,
he's crushing it.
If we went in and we fucking killed Russia or Putin, then what's going to happen? Right? They're going to want a hard-handed person similar to Putin to run the country because they just executed someone that they really liked.
Right.
So there's like, what we really need to be doing is looking for a road out for Putin, because that's the best way to end this. But at some point, I don't really understand. Like, this stuff is over everybody's head. Like, even people who think that that's their job, it's over your head. There's no idea. Right. There's no way of really changing a regime without like catastrophe, I don't think.
Right.
I think it has to be something that comes from within. Like, the whole country has to rally behind it, and it has to be a cause that's built off of millions of people within that area. Right? Like, we have millions and millions of people in the US and in Europe that think that there should be a regime change, but they're not there. They're not going to be there every day once the regime is changed. And that's really what you need for something to be successful, is you need like continued leadership. You need people that are continuing to ask them for the right things. It's not something that can be done remotely, I don't think.
Right.
And I don't like, when someone has so much control over the narrative, like Putin does, I think it's like nearly impossible to I think it's actually impossible to do a quality regime change that is beneficial. So, but on another note, Biden, as well as other, diplomats, or I don't even know what that word means, to be honest, but Biden and other heads of countries are calling for war crimes, a trial of war crimes against Putin.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? Bring him to the United States and hold him at court? Like,
right. I don't entirely understand what this means, but they're talking about there's world courts or something like that. But
sounds very like Game of Thrones-ish.
Essentially, what there is the Ukraine government is saying that they counted more than 400 civilian deaths.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. And they're all tortured and bound and
they've been all tortured. They've been molested, all sorts of different terrible things, which like having a war is one thing, where you're battling people who have decided to battle against you. But as soon as you turn it on civilians, that makes it a war crime.
Right.
And it's just, there's no, like you said, what are they going to do? Right. The only way to change that is like kill him.
Yeah. That's like me just like declaring like, all right, I declare Devin is stupid. It's like, yeah, obviously he's stupid.
Right.
But like, we're not, well, okay. Like, what are we going to do about it? Like,
right. There's like, especially like you're in Montana, I'm in Albuquerque. What are you going to do? Like, if you're saying Devin is stupid and he should be locked in a box because he's a detriment to society because he's so stupid.
Perfect. Yep.
Then who's going to be the one to enforce locking me in a box?
Exactly. I can't.
Yeah. So, this is all stuff that's well over our heads.
Well, that's why it's just, they're just like, Biden's just saying that to appease the Americans. Like, oh, he's actually doing something. He's doing war crimes.
Right. And it's also so like, we know that Ukraine is corrupt. Like that's pretty obvious based on the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. That there's lots of other things that Ukraine has had problems with in the past in terms of money, in terms of all sorts of different things. They're also in a fully hot war against Russia. I'm not saying that they're saying that all of these people, it's not real, right?
Right.
But there's a possibility that they could be saying this sort of stuff to rally the troops. And they've been doing that from the beginning, right? They've been talking about the ghost of Kiev. They've been showing videos of this old woman going up to Russian fighters and telling them to knock it off, which wasn't real. There's been tons of things that they have tried to do through the media that have not been real and have been doctored to make.
So is the war even real?
Yes, the war is real. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but I've listened to people who have been there, right? Which makes it difficult still because it's secondhand.
Yeah.
But the war is real. But that's the extent that we know, right?
I guess. Yeah.
All of this stuff, all of the Western media, they all have their own way of wanting to spin it.
Right.
Ukraine has their own way of wanting to spin it. Russia has their own way of wanting to spin it. Like there's no way that you're going to get legitimate, reporting that you can 100% put your stamp on because it's just, there's so many different narratives that are wanting to be told.
Yeah.
So, I think they call it the fog of war. But that's essentially what we're in. Like the fog of war, we can't see anything. There's no one knows what's just beyond because it's too foggy. So we're over here in the US. I mean, even if you're just a couple countries away, you're pretty much isolated from what's actually happening there. And you're just getting information from news like we are. And it's hard to say what's legitimate. So, that's all I have on the war. We got 42 to 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours out of it of really like hardcore, investigating and caring. But like at this point, when the fog of war is so high, it's hard to care so much.
I don't know, man. Did you watch the Grammys?
No. What about the Grammys? Oh, wasn't Zelensky on?
Yeah. He had a speech over like video camera, and then they had like 3 Ukrainian people come up and like read poems while John Legend sang, and then they it was just bullshit.
Well, it's bullshit, but it's also, I mean, who wouldn't do that when your country is at war, right?
Well, they clearly don't no. I get it from Zelensky's point of view, but like
Well, the problem is the Grammys suck. No one gives a shit about the Grammys.
Grammys are awesome sometimes. They have good music. Okay.
Maybe it's the Grammy. I don't know. I never watch any of them. And now we have Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith at the other award show. And now we got the Grammys where Zelensky's on. Like, they're all looking for their little PR thing.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying, is that the celebrities don't actually care. They just want to be in the limelight of doing the right thing. They don't actually want to do the right thing.
Well, yeah. And we've talked about this before in terms of COVID and how they're
all just so disconnected from reality.
Yeah. It's, there's definitely a disconnect, but you know, it is what it is.
That Pfizer thing? Did you send me the Pfizer thing about Will Smith, or did I send that to you?
You sent that to me, but you know, it's
crazy.
That would be, so Peter sent me a thing that said, or a tweet that said, apparently Pfizer set up the whole Will Smith slap because they they want to promote medicine for alopecia, right?
Yeah, they have a new medicine coming out for alopecia, and they sponsored the whole damn show.
They for sure sponsored the whole show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it very well could be slapped. I mean, it could be slapped, could be set up, but that would be, those boys can act.
They're good actors. In fact, one would say Will Smith was the best male actor this year.
And that's what he won, right?
Yes. That's why they're all like, it looks so real. It looks so real. No shit, it looks real. Like, it either was real or they're just the best actors. Like,
it's, yeah, for sure. But it's also like, I don't know if you've been in there, but I used to get really angry. Occasionally I still can, but when you get into that anger state, you can see it in other people. And that moment when Will Smith is screaming, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. There was like the little tremble in his voice, like his adrenaline is rushing, you know, he's kind of freaking out. He means this shit. He doesn't want it to be like to continue, but
he's also an actor.
Right.
And he's had a lot of roles that he has to yell like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's true.
And he's done all of them very well.
Yeah. But he's a one take wonder if he hit that one.
Or they did multiple takes, but they only did that take over the internet. There's no live video of it.
It's a 15-second delay. All right, everybody go sit it back down really quick. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's possible. I think drug companies are...
Or they pre-recorded him.
Crimey as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be...
That'd be the ultimate, like, whoa.
That would be, like Chris Rock said, the best night in that award show's history, whatever.
Yeah.
Or the best night on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. In other news, Elon acquired just under a 10% stake in Twitter.
I saw that. And he's doing an edit button.
Which means he bought 73.5 million shares. And he is now the largest shareholder in the company. And he was appointed to the board of directors. Did you see his tweet a couple of weeks ago?
About what?
He tweeted about having, like, whether people thought that Twitter was upholding the free speech, right?
Yeah.
And he said to it, like, that vote carefully because the consequences of this will be important or whatever. God damn, this guy tweets a lot. He tweeted, "Free speech is essential to a functioning democracy. Do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle?" And he says, "The consequences of this poll will be important. Please vote carefully." And so this was on March 25th. 70% voted no. 29 voted yes. However, in the filings for like all the paperwork that you have to do when you buy that much of a company, he bought a substantial amount March 17th. So before any of this even happened, he was already going to do this.
Yeah.
And apparently it's been a problem for him because he reached out to the Babylon. What is it? Bumbling Babylon. It's someone who got removed from Twitter for tweeting "Man of the Year goes to," or "Woman of the Year goes to a trans woman." They tweeted a picture.
Was that not real?
No, that was the Babylon Bee or whatever. They tweeted that, and it got them removed.
Why? That's funny.
Right. And that's so he reached out to them and was talking with them about it. And they tweeted it after it came out that he bought it, but he was really concerned that they got removed because of that tweet. And he thought that was like really inappropriate for them to get removed for that. So I don't know. I think that Elon buying that much in Twitter is really good for free speech. I think he rigorously believes, like, obviously, if you know anything about Elon and you know about his past, he has, values that he holds very dear to him, and he runs after those values wholeheartedly. He does not compromise on his values. And I believe one of those values is free speech because he believes that it makes for a better society. So having him as the major shareholder in a company like Twitter is, I think it's really good for social.
Yeah. I still think social media is going to ruin the world.
Yeah, I agree. I think it has the possibility, but just like anything, there's a time period where it's so confusing for everyone because we haven't been a part of it that we have to get used to it. And our brain is not prepared for all of this. Our brain doesn't function as quickly as social media forces it to. So I think that there's going to be a transition period where you really have to, we as a species have to figure out how to function with technology like that. I think part of that is probably going to end up being Neuralink, and increasing our ability to consume and deliver data. But
that's probably why he bought Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably have a ton of cynical takes on why he bought Twitter.
Think of how much information he now has on people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that he cares about that in terms of social media.
That's what he wants you to think. He's taking over the world. He's trying to.
It's possible. I mean, he could buy Disney.
Why doesn't he? That company's garbage. They've ruined every single good movie. The problem is they've ruined Marvel. He
is the best investor of all time. Far and away. He started PayPal. He started SpaceX. He started Tesla.
He didn't start any of them. He bought them.
That's not true.
Or I guess he started SpaceX. He didn't start PayPal.
Okay. Well, he started Zip2, which ended up being bought by the people who, he got bought out. But he created the underlying technology for PayPal. And then he started SpaceX for sure.
He bought Tesla though.
He bought Tesla when it wasn't even a real thing, really. To say that he bought Tesla is an insult to what he's done there, right?
He bought Tesla.
Yeah. I mean, you can say it all you want, but the only reason Tesla is around today is because he did this.
Well, yeah, but like he didn't come up with the name.
Okay. The easiest part of a company, the name. Yes.
It's not the easiest.
Yes, it is.
It's probably the hardest part.
No, it's not.
That's my
if you have a good company, your name.
That's my bold take of the day. Hardest part is company name.
No. If you have a good company, if you have a good product, your name doesn't matter for shit.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Think of the best companies. Apple has nothing to do with fucking
name.
Apples.
That's a great name.
Nike.
Great name.
They're both great names because they have a great product behind them.
No.
Yes.
They're a great name. No. They're a great name. Just simple one syllable word.
Okay, yeah, anyone can do that.
Well, I mean, Apple wouldn't be a thing if it was called Orange.
Yes, it would be.
No.
Yes, it would be.
It wouldn't have taken off.
Apple would be exactly where it is today if their name was Orange.
Or Banana wouldn't be the same.
All of them.
Nope.
They would still be where they are.
And iCarly, that didn't take off like Apple did.
What?
Pearpod and iCarly, TV show on Nickelodeon. That didn't take off like Apple did.
Yeah, it did in the TV show.
No.
It was the Apple of the TV show.
But it was a stupider name, so it didn't come to fruition.
Because it was a knockoff of Apple. They had less superior products. I mean, for one, their fucking phone was shaped like a pear.
If you renamed Apple Carrot, it would not do as well.
Yes, it would. Absolutely, it would.
Nope. It's a stupid argument because we're never going to get anywhere with this.
Yeah, we can disagree on this all day, but
it would be the same.
The name does not matter.
It matters.
It matters to the most minuscule percent.
Well, minuscule percent is the difference between millions and trillions.
No, that's a massive percent.
No.
Millions and trillions.
Yeah, minuscule.
A million is 1% of a trillion.
Yep. Minuscule amount.
Oh my God. You are an absolute buffoon for this take. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have? Nothing. Let's talk about soccer.
Tiger Woods is back.
What?
Tiger Woods is back. It's Masters week.
Did he decide to play?
Yeah, he's playing.
Didn't he say that he was gonna make his decision like right before it started?
Yeah, but he came out and said like I fully plan on playing.
How long has he been out?
His car crash was in.
He hasn't played since his car crash?
Uh-uh.
What year was that?
2020, I thought. 2021, maybe? Let's see. Tiger Woods car crash. February 23rd, 2021.
Okay, so he hasn't played in a little over a year competitively.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, he played with his son in the fall, I think.
At like a duos tournament?
Yeah, like a father-son tournament. So, but he didn't walk. So that's the big thing is now he's walking.
He couldn't walk?
Yeah.
How do you play golf without walking?
You take a cart.
He just sat in the cart and golfed from the cart?
No, he could walk. He couldn't walk the whole thing though. And at the Masters, you have to walk the whole course.
Okay.
It's one of the rules.
Interesting. What happened to him in his car crash? What all did he damage?
Dude, he like shattered his leg. They almost amputated his leg.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well.
And Phil Mickelson is banned.
How did Phil Mickelson get banned? I mean, isn't he's one of those crazy ones. He's one of the ones that makes the sport fun.
Yeah. He was not invited.
Okay, so banned and not invited are two different words.
Well, he remember that like Saudi Arabian league?
Oh yeah, he signed with them, right?
Yeah, and then the PGA was like, "Okay, you're done here," and then he said something about I don't know. He got canceled.
Nice.
Just another white guy getting canceled.
Classic. Well,
It really is.
Well, congratulations for
Honestly though, I'm not trying. Like, has there ever been a non-white guy that's gotten canceled?
Will Smith.
He hasn't been canceled.
They're trying to cancel him.
He literally got a standing ovation less than 5 minutes later.
A couple people are trying to cancel him. I don't know.
Seriously, I think it's literally just white men.
No, there's been some white women that have been canceled.
Who?
I don't know for sure, but definitely some Republican women for their stances on women. Also, Adele has been canceled.
Why?
Adele got canceled because of saying that she loves being not fat. So she got canceled by all the fat people. And then she also got canceled. She got attempted to get canceled because she said she loves being a woman.
What's wrong with that?
Well, she was at an award show. I don't remember what exactly it was about, but it was about like non-binary shit. I think.
Okay.
And so all of the people were like talking about, they wanted to be supportive of trans people, right?
Naturally.
And she said she won an award and she was like, I just want to say that I love being a woman and it's fantastic being a woman. And everyone's like, she's putting down trans women because they can't have actual babies or something to that extent.
Stupid.
So everyone got pissed at her. Well, not everyone, obviously, but the loud minority got mad at her for literally nothing.
Did you know Johnny Depp got canceled?
No. I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but I think cancel culture, unless you've done something that's legitimately egregious to the masses, like cancel culture is over.
Yeah, it's not a thing really anymore.
Like you can just continue on because the people who are on your side are going to continue to be on your side unless you've done something legitimately terrible.
Right.
And that's provable, right? If it's not provable, then people are kind of going to not really care. I mean, it's the same thing. We had a goddamn war happen and you got 48 to 72 hours like we talked about. Mm-hmm. In cancel culture, we had
a cough going around and we got 2 years.
You have 6 to 8 hours now. In cancel culture, It's like 6 to 8 hours where people are like, uh-oh, what did he do? And then no one gives a shit after that.
Right.
So yeah, cancel culture is, I think that shit's done. But yeah, more on sports. The FIFA is
Federation of International Football Association.
They're looking to, or they are they looking or are they extending? They're extending the matches for the World Cup in Qatar to 100 minutes rather than 90.
So stupid.
I don't understand why. Can you think of why? Do you think they'll take out overtime, like extra time?
I don't know.
It
says it's not happening.
It's not happening?
Yeah, that must have been false. What you sent me.
That's possible.
What source was that from?
It's in your DMs, so why don't you go look?
Get out of my DMs, bro.
But yeah, I don't know why that would ever be a thing. I mean, what would be the point?
Stupid. Literally stupid.
Yeah. That would make no sense. Really. But also, Qatar is going to have air-conditioned stadiums.
Yeah, I did see that. That's smart, though.
That is insane.
I mean, it's so hot there.
No, I understand. Yeah, totally. But the volume of air that you have to pump
Yeah.
into a stadium
Yeah, for sure.
is insane. They have these, I mean, the pictures of them is just absurd. It's like no air conditioner you've ever seen, but it's essentially, they look like just giant air cannons.
Yeah, they're massive.
Yeah, they're like this. Each little thing that shoots the air out is the size of a human's abdomen.
Jeez.
And it's literally surrounding the entire field.
I mean, how hot is it in Qatar in December?
I have no idea. That's a great question. But that's just
84.
I have no idea what their temperatures would be, but I think it's a first.
Fluctuating between 75 and 59.
It says that the max temperature in Fahrenheit in December is 77 degrees.
Yeah. It's like Arizona. It's not that bad.
That's not hot.
But you didn't account for global warming.
Okay, so it's going to be 77.2 degrees.
Well, the ice caps are melted, so 77.5.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, but I mean that. I'm saying it doesn't make sense, really, if it's that hot. I mean, if those are the actual temperatures.
I think it's more of a we're super rich, we can do this, and no one else can move, rather than.
I mean, it's got to be. They're doing eight air conditioned stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
Are they retrofitting stadiums or are they building full stadiums? I have no idea.
They're building them.
That's insane.
The city that is like the main host hasn't even been like finished being built yet. The entire city.
Really?
Yeah. Also, how stupid is it that the World Cup's in December?
That is interesting. Holy
Sucks.
mother of Christ.
What?
Guess how much they're spending a week?
It's probably $1 billion.
No.
Trillion?
It's close, dude. If they're spending $500 million a week.
Yeah. And apparently they're using like slaves and stuff too.
Using what?
Slaves.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of slave labor in Qatar. But they're spending $200 billion for the World Cup.
Not
More
that
than
much.
200.
Light work.
Yeah, that's just I mean, you get to a point where numbers become unfathomable, and that's at about 2000, I think.
For me, I'd take 500, dude.
It's unfathomable.
Well, I just got a paycheck that was over. It was like $650 or something like that. I got so damn excited. That is so much money for me.
Yeah.
And when you do it in the long run, that's like $18,000 a year.
Oh yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's like no way to really understand how much money the richest people in the richest countries are making.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I wish I made money.
Well, move down here and I'll help you make money, Peter. And we can actually make money on this podcast because we'll be in person and they'll be better.
Oh, they're good now.
I agree that they're good now. I'm saying that they'll be better.
That's impossible.
Yeah, no, it's not impossible.
It's impossible.
Okay, well, next thing. Have you heard of Elizabeth Holmes?
Elizabeth Holmes. Is that Kate Holmes' sister?
No, I don't think.
Is that Sherlock Holmes' sister?
Definitely not.
I haven't heard of her.
So Elizabeth Holmes, she started a company. Damn, I forgot what the company was called, but it was essentially a giant fraud company. And she was supposed to be the next, Steve Jobs. She even started
show on her now on Instagram.
Yeah, a what on her? Did you say a show
TV
on her
show?
on Instagram?
Yeah, or a movie. Or Netflix.
No, it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah, but it's about her. It's a dramatic representation of her story.
Okay.
But essentially, she started this company that was supposed to read a drop of blood and give you like hundreds of tests, like blood tests, to tell you where you're at in terms of your health. And it was all a fraud. They started the company. They thought that they could get to this place. And then they went to see these investors and they couldn't get their product to work. So they forged it. They faked it by just sending data over the internet from a different computer saying that it approved the stuff. And then they got to the point where they were testing people when you're supposed to only, their whole thing was you're only taking a little bit of blood. They continued to take like full things of blood, saying that they were making sure that their product was working properly. And then they would just go test it on old equipment and bring it back. And there was, millions and millions and millions of dollars of investment from people who had no idea what the technology was. So no one who really knew what they were doing in invested in them. Like nice. Silicon Valley investors did not invest because they understand technology. They realized after doing a little bit of homework, they realized it's physically based on physics. It's impossible to get all those tests from a drop of blood.
Right.
And she continued to like swindle these older guys into investing in her company. And then she started dating this guy. He became the CFO and it just continued to go downhill.
Evans?
Huh?
Is that Billy Evans?
No, that is not Billy Evans.
Brutal.
But the reason I bring this up is because last week Elizabeth Holmes finished her trial and she was found guilty for fraud.
Shocking.
Which, yeah. And she's obviously like, she's got some like sociopathic tendencies, or she is a sociopath or something to that extent, because right before the trial happened, she got pregnant.
Good for her.
Yeah. And like, to the point where you're like, is she looking for sympathy? Like, is she trying to get out of all this? And then she was like, she blamed it all on her CFO, the guy who she was dating or whatever. But he wasn't even there really when it all started.
Naturally.
And so it devolved, her story devolved. But it was really interesting because she adopted this persona and people loved her because she was a dropout from Stanford. She was in the technology industry. She was worth $5 billion as a woman. She was the richest self-made woman. At one point, it all obviously fell apart, so she's worth nothing now. Yeah. But she like adopted this persona where her voice got deeper. She was wearing these suits. She was acting like Steve Jobs. And she was really trying to play this role of this extremely intelligent, woman, which she's very smart, but she started off with like the wrong intent. Her whole goal was to become a billionaire, rather than to like actually help people.
Right.
And she got lost along the way because she was trying to get the money. She met the wrong people, which told her to just get the money. And she continued down that path, and then, things went wrong. So
How long is she going to be in jail?
I actually don't know.
At least a few days.
And if she's Theranos was the company's name, obviously. I forgot about that. Theranos.
Thanos?
She was found guilty on 4 counts.
Whoa.
Yeah. So she...
Count.
Yeah, she failed that one.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, and now they're going after her ex-boyfriend. I forgot his name. He's an Indian guy. But oh my God. Billy Evans is her new partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, not her old partner is Sonny Bilwani.
Sonny Bilwani?
Well, his name is Sonny. It's like a pet name, whatever. But
Sunny.
apparently she's living at $135 million Silicon Valley estate with her partner, Billy Evans.
So she's still got lots of money.
Oh, because Billy Evans is the son of a San Diego hotel magnate. Bill Evans. Magnate. That's such an interesting word.
Money.
Yeah, well, you just get into circles of people.
Yeah.
And that's where you end up falling, right? It's pretty easy when you've been a billionaire to continue living like a multi-millionaire. Is probably not very hard because you know the right people.
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, I'll get there one day, Peter.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I will.
You're going to be a billionaire?
No, I didn't say a billionaire.
A multimillionaire?
Multimillionaire, possibly a billionaire. Not,
What are you going to invent?
We'll see. There's lots of ways to do it. Being a fantastic investor is one of them. So I'm not in it to become a billionaire because I think after a couple $100 million or even a couple million, life is pretty similar. Once you get to $1 billion, you can just buy a bigger boat and a bigger house. But
I wouldn't even spend it.
You can't really.
No, I know. I wouldn't even buy a huge house.
Right. Neither would I. I don't want to live in a huge house. I would have lots of land.
A lot of land.
Yes, I would have lots of land. I would also, you know what I would probably do, and it's been a plan of mine for a long time, is to buy a cul-de-sac.
I wouldn't live on it.
And put all my friends there.
Yeah, not going to work.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds a little culty.
That's fine.
Sounds a little culty.
It might be a cult. Who knows? What's wrong with a good cult, Peter?
Honestly, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. If they're done well, it's pretty impressive. Actually.
Yeah. Come on, we can have a good cult. Take. I think I would be a pretty good cult leader.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be the worst cult leader.
Speaking of millionaire, did you see what happened to Dogecoin yesterday?
I did not. What happened to Dogecoin? Don't just smile because some people are just listening.
Your boy made $50 off of it. That's what happened.
You made $50, dog?
Yeah, and then I sold it all, and then it tanked again.
Did you actually sell it all?
Yeah.
So how much you made? You made $75 on Doge?
Yeah, it went up to 17 cents, and I had bought it at 13 cents. So I sold it, and now it's back down to 14 cents.
Ooh, money moves.
It's a good sell.
Money moves.
And then I took all that money and invested it in Tesla.
Did you actually?
Yeah, which is not good because it's been not doing well.
Well, okay. So you have to decide what kind of investor you're going to be, Peter. Are you going to be Are you going to be a Dogecoin when it pops, I'm going to sell investor? Or are you going to be a long-term investor understanding how the company runs, the company's future, where they're headed, what their probabilities are?
I have 2 accounts.
Okay.
I have one on Charles Schwab.
Yep.
That I'm doing all the ETFs and long-term. So I just got Apple on that. That's pretty exciting. And then on my Robinhood is where I play around with the Bitcoin and the Dogecoin and the, that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a mistake to not have Tesla in that long-term vision.
I don't have enough money for it.
Right. I understand. Yeah. And you can't buy partial shares in.
You can't. Yeah.
Yeah. On there. But
once it does like a stock split or something, then sure.
Yeah, dude, there's a possibility. I saw someone talking about, well, they're actually going to vote on doing a stock split on their next earnings, I believe. And I'm sure most people will probably say yes. But I saw something for a 20-to-1 stock split, which would give me 4,000 plus shares.
Is that good?
Well, I mean, the numbers change quite a bit. Like when you stock split something that's at 1,000 20 times, it ends up making it $50. And then if you have a 5% rise then you're making $80,000, right?
Yeah.
So
you're going to get a lot of money off of it.
Possibly. I don't know. I don't think that a stock split, I don't think a stock split matters. It just gives access to more people, right?
Yeah.
So people that can't afford it at its current price will be able to afford it when it's splits. But inherently, it doesn't change the fundamentals of the business, so it doesn't really matter. Like Tesla's a fantastic business. So if their price is 10 grand or $20, I think it's a buy.
Yeah. But it's 1,000 right now. And I only put in $500 a month, so I can't afford it.
Well, save for 2 months and then buy a share.
Just one share?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to look for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you want to continue to try and accumulate Tesla because you believe in the long-term vitality of the business. The one thing that I can say about Tesla is I believe that they will be the best manufacturer on the planet. And they already are.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to manufacture anything better than anyone else.
How much are they right now?
How much are what?
Do they do dividends?
They don't do dividends, but I'm sure they will. Because Tesla's going to turn into a money printing machine. They're going to have too much money to even understand what to do with.
1045.
So
when I first started my Schwab account, they were at like 600, and I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
Well, I could have told you to buy them.
Yeah, my dad told me to. I was like, I don't want to put all my money in one spin.
Dude, your dad, he's a believer, man.
He has a few shares.
Does he?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Has he done his research?
I don't know.
I'm sure he has if he's telling you to invest in it. Hopefully he hasn't just looked at the
ticker.
Yeah. But
I guess I could sell a lot of my ETFs and just.
Do you have ARK ETFs?
I have ARK, yeah.
I think ARK's a good ETF. That technically,
I just got ARK.
Technically, you own Tesla shares in your ARK ETF, depending on which one did you buy?
I just got it.
Right, but which one?
This month. No, I just got it.
So that doesn't change what the name is, right? So is it the
ARK Innovation ETF?
Yeah. So the Innovation ETF has Tesla in it.
Yeah, so I own Tesla.
And they have 10% of their, I believe 10% of the Innovation ETF is Tesla.
Yeah, so I'm good. I don't need to get Tesla on its own then.
I disagree because I think that Tesla's going to outperform most of the companies in that ETF, which means that you're going to miss out on some of the earnings because the other ones will bring it down. And so with an ETF, when Tesla has a huge rise, they have to sell because they can't have more than 10% of their portfolio in Tesla.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah. So when it rises, they sell some Tesla. When it drops, they can buy more Tesla. But they try and keep it around 10%.
Okay, maybe with my next, maybe I'll save up for 2 months.
This is not investing advice, by the way, because that's technically illegal because we are not accredited investors. So none of
Fact
what...
check us.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Fact
check
check us. None of this is investment advice, but I'll look into the company. There's some fantastic... If you're interested in learning more about Tesla,
Is Apple a good buy?
Apple's almost always a good buy.
That's what my dad said too.
Yeah. I mean, some companies get to the point where they're so good at what they do, there will be growth. But I do think inevitably there will be
So what do you think Tesla will get to?
What do I think they'll get to?
Yeah.
It depends on the time period. I think in 10 years they could be like if they don't split,
Yeah.
they could probably be $5,000 to $6,000 a share
Jeez.
or more.
So I should probably get in.
Possibly. I mean, this obviously
ever
fact check us because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Think they'll ever drop down to 7 again? Like 6 or...
Oh my gosh. Just realized that my headphones haven't been doing anything this whole time. Why did it stop recording? Is this recording through my... Well.
Devin's messed up the whole podcast. Anyway.
Yeah, I have a little bit, but oh well.
So, do you think that it'll ever drop below like 700 again?
No. Can you hear me? No, I don't think it'll ever drop below 700 again.
The lowest it'll go is
900.
So I should wait till it gets to 900.
No, I don't think you should try and time the market. I think that's a fool's game.
I think you're a fool game.
I'm a fool game?
Yeah. Okay, well, how about you Venmo me $1,000 and then I'll buy a Tesla.
How about I don't do that?
Okay. If you're listening and you want to Venmo me $1,000, I'll buy a Tesla with it.
Yeah, I think that everyone needs to do their own research. I think Peter needs to do his own research on Tesla before he really invests.
I'll probably just invest.
Okay. That's fair.
Have I ever shown you my, you know what Best Brokers is? The app?
No.
So you get fake money and you invest in real stocks.
Oh, yeah. You can do that on whatever app you're using. I'm pretty sure you can trade paper money.
So when I first got it, I invested in Tesla in June 2019.
Yep.
I have a 2,000% increase.
Yeah. I have
And I'm pretty upset that I didn't just do that with real money.
let me see what mine's at. 2 years. Yeah, I actually have a 2,000% increase.
Yeah, I think it was around the same time, probably.
Yeah. 2,043% increase.
I have 0.81 shares on Robinhood.
0.81, yeah.
0.18, sorry. Dyslexic.
Yeah. I think there's always going to be... Stop it, dude. I'm trying to think, and sometimes my brain kicks me a little bit, gives me a little bit of, that autistic brain. But I think that there's always going to be a better time to invest. Like if I could have, right, I would go back to when they were $16 a share, pre-stock split. Yeah, for 10 years, Tesla was $16 a share before their first stock split. So that would be $4 now.
Jeez.
So like if I could go back 10 years ago. Huh?
10 years ago? That was 10 years ago?
I think let's see. Yeah, they were, here, 5 years ago, they were $50 a share.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
That's when we were living together.
I know.
What were we doing?
We were playing soccer and trying to bring a team together, and it ultimately failed.
Why didn't we invest in Tesla?
That would have been a better use of our time, for sure.
Yeah. What were we doing? Oh.
What we should have done.
You didn't.
Well, yeah. First of all, I didn't have any money, so I wouldn't have been able to invest.
I'm surprised you still didn't just throw in $50.
Yeah. I didn't really start doing research until when was it?
I don't know.
2019. I did about 4 months of research before I invested.
4 months?
Yeah.
I did about 1 day.
Yeah.
And that's why I lost a ton of money.
Yeah. No, I did.
I lost. Have you ever heard of the company Empower Clinics? There's probably a good reason for that. So my cost per share was $1.78. $1.78. I bought 50 shares.
Nice.
Guess how much it is now?
67 cents.
16 cents.
Oh, no, Peter.
Lost $80.
Oh, you lost all of it.
It's going to go back up.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, what are they in? What is it? What's their field?
Telehealth.
I mean, that's yeah. They're not going back up. They're not going back.
There's not even news articles out on them.
Yeah, they're not going back up. But this kind of plays into there's companies like Lucid Motors, Rivian, even GM, right?
Yeah, they've tanked and then they come out of nowhere and come back up.
No, so those companies, most of their current valuation is based on Tesla's success, right? Because Tesla is by far and away, you can't say anything about it. Tesla is the most successful electric car company.
Right.
And everyone watched the ascent of Tesla to like this $1 trillion valuation. Tesla is now like top 5 most valuable companies in the world.
Right.
And with that, there's going to be some tailwinds, and you're going to start bringing up like companies that are similar because people get FOMO, and all of these people think that the Tesla train is kind of done.
Yeah.
They think that the growth in Tesla is done, which they're wrong. So they look for similar companies that they think will grow like Tesla did. And unfortunately, like if you just like you would with Apple, right? Apple had a similar thing in probably 2010, 2011, where they had this huge ascent.
Right.
And people were like, oh, well, that's the end of Apple's growth.
Right.
And then now Apple's like approaching a $3 trillion company.
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to continue to grow for, the foreseeable future.
Right.
But when there is a product that's so compelling and beats everyone else's product by such a margin and creates a household name, like when you think of electric cars, you think of Tesla. That company, especially if they have solid foundation, if they know what they're doing technologically, they are going to win and win and win and win again. So all of these people that are going and investing in Rivian and Lucid Motors, those kinds of companies, they're investing because they believe in the electric vehicle that Tesla has made, and they want these companies to be able to do something similar. When really, if they just invested in Tesla, they would probably gain more.
Right.
So, and
my other company that I have is MindMed. Have I ever told you about that one?
No. These are terrible names for companies.
Told you, company name.
No, but what I'm saying is, if MindMed has the best product, they will win, and we will be saying MindMed, and it'll sound great.
They have it's a biotech company that produces or that uses psychedelics to help treat anxiety.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have, let's see. I bought it at $269 per share. And I have 30 shares.
Okay.
And now it's at 105.
So you bought it at 269.
Now it's at 105.
So it went down to 105.
Yeah, so I've lost like $150 off of those two alone.
Yeah, Pete, you're not doing great on the investment front.
Well, that's why I switched to all ETFs, and I'm green light all the way around over there.
Right. And as people should be, like if you're not wanting to really do the work to find the companies and you can understand the basis of what they are.
Yeah.
There are people that are doing that and making ETFs. I mean, the best way if you want to be wealthy is to invest, $200 to $300 a month into just the S&P 500 because it's gone up 8% every year.
Yeah.
Over, the whole time that it's been around. So now, like, if you're looking at other companies, if you're looking to invest in a singular company, you have to get greater than 8% out of your investment, because other than if you don't, then it's a waste, because you could have just invested in the S&P 500 and gotten that investment. So I'm
just going to hold out and wait for those companies to just hit it big again.
Those ones?
Yeah.
Well, do you know the dynamics of the company? Do you understand what their future is? Do you understand what their plans are?
Yeah, MindMed is still in FDA trials, so they haven't even been taking them. But they were on Shark Tank.
Why are they public already?
I don't know. They only when they went public. I should have sold when they went public, because when they went public, they went up to $5, and I didn't sell it.
So you bought it right when it went public.
Right. Yeah.
When was that?
Last fall.
Interesting.
Or last spring.
Yeah. I wonder if they were going off because the markets were so hot that they were just trying to probably get as much money as they could. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't understand necessarily why they would go.
They were on Shark Tank.
Right. That's great. But I don't understand why they would go public God damn it. Are you kidding me? This is so stupid. If they don't have FDA approval, but I have no idea.
Don't know, man. That's probably why I lost some money off of them.
Probably.
But I'm never selling them. Ever.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, you only lose the money if you sell it. So.
No.
I mean, now if it's this low, like there's no point in selling it now.
Well, so on that, the government is looking to tax unrealized capital gains, which means
What's that mean?
you only realize, like what you're trying to say is you only realize the loss or the gain once you take the money out, right?
Right.
So technically, I haven't made any money because I haven't taken the money out of the market.
Right.
Right. However, and that's currently, that's the only time you get taxed is once you take the money out of the market, you get taxed on that capital gains.
Right.
So however much you gained, you get taxed at, if you only hold it for less than a year, you get taxed at your tax bracket, which, depending on where you are is different. But
right.
If you hold it for a longer period of time, it's around 20%. But I believe, but if this goes through, then as you invest, you'll constantly be taxed for gains that you have not realized yet. You haven't taken the money out of the market yet, and you're getting taxed on it.
That's stupid.
So
That's
for me, I would have to pay an amazing amount of money that I don't have towards unrealized capital gains because
that just discourages people from investing in the stock market.
Absolutely.
So why would they do that?
Because they're scratching their heads for how to make more money. Because they are horrible. They are terrible at distributing money. They have no idea. Like, the government is the only business that can continually fail and still be a thing. That's why we operate on a deficit every year.
That would suck for everyone.
Yeah. No, it would be terrible.
I would pull all my money out and just hide it under my mattress.
Well, I mean, at that point, if we get into inflation or stagflation, then you're fucked, right? Because which is, I think, a high possibility going forward. We're really hitting like the quadruple storm coming in, but there's a possibility that we hit stagflation, which means inflation continues to increase and spending decreases. And there's no way to incentivize the market to continue spending more money. So inflation continues to increase and spending continues to decrease, which makes it to where continually the money that you have is worth less and less.
I would be so upset if they did this.
Well, it's not necessarily something that they do. It's something that happens. Like if
No. If they tax the stock market.
Oh, if they tax unrealized capital gains?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that I would be livid because that would be, well, the reason
they would never do that.
The reason that they're doing this is because they look at these people like Elon, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, all of those top investors, and they don't think it's fair. It's not fair. Who cares? Quite frankly, it's not fair. And for me, so let's die
eventually.
Let's take Jeff Bezos for an example, right? Jeff Bezos has made $200 billion off of creating one of the most valuable companies in the world. And the reason it's so valuable is because it saves everyone money.
Yeah.
Right? So if you help millions, then you should be rewarded disproportionately. That's how capitalism works, and that's how it should work, quite frankly. And this leads, right into our friends who don't want to reply to us, but
They didn't reply.
No, they did not reply. They didn't even look at it. This is like no. This is a socialist look where you're trying to take from the top and redistribute the wealth.
You should follow him first and then DM him.
Well, I commented on their pictures and said, I sent you a DM. Let me know.
Oh.
So.
Wow, you went hard to get him.
Yeah. But the problem with this is who do you want distributing the money, right? So people like Elon, people like Jeff Bezos are some of the best investors of all time. If we take their money and give it to the government, who is notoriously the worst investor of all time, then we are losing out across the board, right? The more money that people like Elon and Jeff Bezos have to distribute, I believe the better for society. I don't think either one of them are evil. I think there are people that have money that are evil, but I haven't seen them like we are trying to attack these people. And Peter stopped caring.
I'm listening.
Yeah, you're listening while on Instagram.
I'm not on Instagram. I was looking at your comments to the
third
wave workers. I was.
Okay. But this whole taxing unrealized capital gains is a buffoonery.
Would they ever do that? I don't think they would.
I hope they don't. But
yeah, because then you have to pull out all your money, and then we'd never make exponential growth.
Right, and it makes it really difficult for founders to continue to invest, and it even makes it more difficult for people who work at companies to get paid with equity. So like Tesla, for example, they've paid a lot of their early employees in equity, which has made them wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. Same thing with Facebook, same thing with Apple. That's how startups pay their employees. They pay by the idea of the future gains of the company. And if you make it so they have to get taxed as well on that, then it's going to be much harder to recruit great talent because they're going to have to pay that. So then you're changing the whole startup infrastructure as well.
Stupid.
So
I'm upset.
Yeah, I don't know. There's bad decisions being made all around, especially in government. Mainly in government, really. Only in the
I
government.
have to make better investments.
Yeah, you do need to make better investments, Peter.
Every time I think of those two companies, I get super upset.
What two companies? Oh, the MindMed
and the
telehealth.
The Empower Clinics.
Yeah, you should just take the loss and invest that money elsewhere.
The 3150 and the 822.
Oh,
Like, what am I gonna invest it in?
Oh, invested in a couple of good sandwiches, Peter.
Yeah, see, there's no point in taking it out.
Well, there's no point in keeping it in.
Well, once I take it out, then I lose the money.
Peter, the money is lost, dude.
It's coming back.
No, it's not. Neither one of those companies is coming back.
MindMed might.
MindMed might, but there's a strong
Clinics,
might
probably.
there. What?
Empower Clinics doesn't even register on the stock market every day sometimes.
Oh, because their trading volume is so low?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a terrible investment.
Oh, man.
All right. I think that's goddamn, an hour and a half. All right. Well, thank you
From
guys.
Canada, so that makes sense.
They're from Canada.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. This was episode 10 of the You Should Fact Check This podcast. Let us know in the comments which companies you think Peter should invest in.
Please.
Mainly companies that Peter's going to lose more money in. I think that's where we should be looking to push him. But yeah, let us know. Give us a comment and like and subscribe. And this is going to be the first episode where we start sharing some of our clips. So if you want to see a clip made out of any of the segments, please let us know the timestamp because we don't re-listen to these. So I'm just kind of going to swing. I'm going to guess at a couple of areas. Probably post maybe 2 per episode for right now. But yeah, thank you for listening. We will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.